Good morning. Trimming in this back area. I'm gonna do some base, window trim. This is tight quarters, so what you always want to do is get your saw set up close to where you're working. I'm gonna be in here. There's a hidden room in here. It's all gotta get based out. So I'm gonna go ahead and take these doors right off the hinges, and I'm gonna get set up. Bring my miter box into this little room, and I'll show you how I set it up. You're gonna want to keep in mind you got long cuts to make. So you're gonna put your saw up at an angle so you can get these long cuts. Okay, continuing on, this is that small tight area. Took the doors off so I could get in here good. And when you do a room base, think about which way the cope will be best hidden. If there were ever to be a crack open up. So in here I put that first back one on first. Then I coped into it. So when you're looking at the door, when you're standing in the room, the cope is not facing you, if that makes any sense. The cope is hidden. Okay, so then in this room, I decided I'd put that corner on first, cope the right side of the long one, then cope a right side again, so that all those are hidden when you're standing here looking in here. Now that one, I'd put that one on first, then I'd cope the left side of this one to it, and so on. In this big room here, I would do these pieces under the window first, then I would cope the left side of that short one. I'd put that like 4-footer on in the corner first, then I would cope the right side coming this way around. Just all the way through the room, everywhere you walk and the way you look at it, you want to hide the copes. A quick view of my setup in this room. It's a tight space, but you always want your saw set up close to where you're working. I have it at an angle so I can get long boards in here. I can shoot them in through the door, and I can lay them on my saw. I can cut without smacking into walls and everything, but when you're close to your saw, you don't have to walk across the house. Huge time saver. Alright, then you have to find studs. Best way I found, using a mason bit. It's got a concrete bit, Tapcon bit. It's got that protective tip on there so it doesn't wear out fast, but it also doesn't drill into anything you don't want to drill into, a pipe, etc. And you can kind of feel, you can find the center of the stud, which is important. So just drill in. Find the center of it. Make a little mark, then you can kind of guess where the next 16 will be. Find the center of it. But this works really good, it's fast. It's a little bit of a mess, you got a vacuum behind you, but that's how I do it. Okay, so then I'm coming out of this corner, and right next to this register here, that isn't mounted yet, there's no stud, so that I take some power grab Loctite, put some on the back of the piece where there's no stud. Then I shoot a couple pin nails in there at an angle just to hold it to the root guide. Those are just in the drywall. old structures don't hold until that glue dries. And then, of course, put one where you know there is a stud. And you're ready for your next one. Here I'm keeping the base 5/8 of an inch off the subfloor. Seems like a good height so that the carpet isn't mashed down. Otherwise it can look like the carpet's getting squished. Here too, it's good to put pressure on the corner, but not at the expense of digging it into the wall. So what I did was nail back here, and then I have tension on this cope so I can spring that in there into place. Okay, without question, one of the first things you're going to be doing is cut the base when you start finished carpentry. Here's a part of my list. So what this means is I'm cutting this one here. It's going to be 41 1/16 left hand cope and straight on both sides. That's what this means. This one is a 21 3/8 cut straight on one side, or 90 degrees, and then the other one I cut a 1 degree angle on when it goes into a corner, plastered corner, and it's going to get buried by the next cope. So this is how I do it, the cope cut. So it's right on the edge of this top of the profile. Turn to 3 degrees. Then I cut to here, right before it starts to round on the profile. So really, now all I have is just this much coping to do. And I use a handsaw. There's handsaws for thicker base. There's jigs you can put a router in, but this is always still the best way for me. Now the teeth on a coping saw are going to be cutting on the downstroke in this case. So you always start it by pulling up, and then start to cut. Have it angled back. Let the saw do the cutting. It's going to take practice. Best thing to do is hold it somewhere you can put some leverage down, holding it in place, and just practice. Before you know it, you'll be doing it in no time. Okay, once the piece is coated on one side, still doing this 41 and 1/16 left, 2 straight cuts. You can go right here, just below the profile. That's where the tape hooks on. 41 and 1/16. That's all. Just cut it straight at 0. Always check your saw is 0. And there's no debris between the fence. Okay. Here again, I don't have any nailing right here next to the back. Put a couple dots of adhesive on there. Then where you know there's a stud. In this case, I don't need pins on this side because it's tight. Glue's gonna dry very quick. Already found my studs. Next piece. I'll nail it first on this door jamb so it doesn't push the door jamb this way. That's done. Straighten it out. This can come off because they're going to. That's a wrap for this bathroom, or this closet. Okay, another thing is, now I have a piece that's only 1 inch and 5/8 wide. Don't ever cut little pieces. This is getting there on a small side. Grab another piece, it's way better than losing a finger. Don't take any unnecessary risks. So I'm going to measure 1 inch and 5/8. Straight cuts. But you don't ever want your finger anywhere near that blade. Best way to mark outside corners is to actually have the piece I cut 1 degree this way, so it hits tight on the top in the plastered opening, and then you just sight from this, get the wall straight with your eye, and you get a perfect mark right where that 45 is going to be. Check my cut. Everything looks good. With painted base, you have a little bit of latitude. This cut can cover something if it's cut a little too long. But now I will get glue on both surfaces, 100%. That's a big deal to me. Make sure there's 100% glue on everything, both joints. Don't be shy with the glue. Rub it off on the back. I'm going to go ahead and nail that long one on first. just the top. Check it by feeling it and looking at it. That's like perfect. Shoot a couple of brad knives in the miter too. Extra straight. You can see too what I got going on over here. I just used a piece of base and casing, and I made a little stiff back, because again there was no stud at the end of that base, so I put some adhesive on the back side of there. And the grill, I just had it placed for a spacer. But so there's your outside corner. Looks nice. Another thing to be aware of is the plasterer comes down with his trowel and stops, leaves a line. You gotta get that scraped off. I use a scraper, real stiff, something stiff, sharp, and hit all that. Get all those boogers off so that your base sits flat.